It is time for This Week in Location-Based Marketing, episode number 76. Today, PunchCard hits 15 million locations. But what does that really mean? Also, Facebook writes another check and hires another team. PayPal puts where to use and Bravo around the world in 80 plates. All this, plus our weekly M&A and funding roundup, our resource of the week, and special guest, Simon Liss, CTO of We Love Mobile, coming up now. Asif. Welcome, buddy. How are ya?
How you doing, buddy? All's well in the in Toronto up here. Hopefully for you in Ottawa. I mean, the weather was fantastic today. Couldn't be any better.
Well, this is my tanned face.
There you go.
Yes, it was a great day. We were just talking about this before we went live recording. I am one of those guys who contributed to the $200 million box office blowout weekend for the Avengers. I dragged my whole family out to see it, and it was a shoot 'em up, great movie. Can't say enough about how suspend belief and just go and enjoy this movie. It was wonderful weekend. God, I loved it. Anyway, $200 million this weekend.
Nice.
I think I spent that much. However, $200 million.
And just a quick sidebar, because it's not in our agenda today. Because we talk about location-based stuff and mobile and augmented reality and all that. So Walmart has got an augmented reality play with the Avengers. So you can go in. There's an app. I'll send you the link to post and you can go into the store and you can hold up the Avenger toys in a Walmart and see augmented reality on top of them. There you go.
Wow. Well, I'm. You know what? It's just the beginning. I saw it. We didn't see it in 3D, but I got to see the actual preview last week as well. I saw it. I've seen it twice in a week, if you can believe that. But I saw it in 3D, and man, just what a great
twice in a week. I mean, was Springsteen in it?
Exactly. And he didn't. Yeah, he didn't even do the soundtrack, if you can believe it. I had an opportunity. I thought it was worthwhile. I wanted to vet it for my kids, and so it was good. And I brought my kids out to see it again, and they loved it. It's amazing. You don't need an imagination anymore. You can just be fed this stuff. It's so real. It's pretty incredible. God. Well, welcome to This Week in Location-Based Marketing. This is that podcast, that video podcast, our resource you come to every week. And this is week number 76 in a row that we've been doing this to bring you the latest information about the mobile location marketing industry. This is a pretty, what we've seen over the last 76 weeks has obviously been an insane growth in this space. A lot of confusion, a lot of growth. We try to dispel the confusion, bring you the things that will actually help you grow your business, help you actually leverage other people's work in bringing it into your business. And that's what we brought to you today. Big stories today. But before we dive into it, we'd love to talk a little bit about what the LBMA is up to in the next coming weeks. To see if it's hitting the road again. First West Coast, then Europe. It sounds like a very glamorous lifestyle. I'm sure it's not.
It's not.
Tenting in hotels. But what are you up to in the next couple of weeks? What's the LBMA up to in the next couple of weeks? And then what are you doing?
Well, so we got two LBM events on the short-term horizon. So we've got we're launching our first chapter in Montreal, and our first event and a chapter in Montreal on June the 7th. So if you're in that area, I encourage you to come out June the 7th. It's all up on the LBMA site, and then we're having our sort of next scheduled meeting in Toronto. The Toronto chapter is gathering on June the 20th. Both very interesting events. The 20th one will be exciting because I think we're talking about checking into content and Shazam and GetGlue and Miso and all that kind of stuff. Some broadcasters and whatnot will be involved. So interesting stuff. I'm on the road for the next few weeks. So off to the West Coast, as you said, LA. Going to be talking to some of the TV folks and figuring out what they're doing in this space and getting involved there. And I'm speaking at a little event for KJLH. It's a radio station in LA on multicultural applications for location, so it should be interesting. And your good friends from Yaza will be on the panel with me there, so that'll be good, Rob. and then back, and then off to Orlando for a short little gig the following week, and then Europe. Got two events there: the Location Business Summit, Where Businesses event in Amsterdam, third year for that. Big event, brings the European location community together. So that's the 22nd, 23rd of May, and then doing a quick little stint over in Norway for Hotel Industry Association there. So there you go.
All in the life, the glamorous lifestyle of a CCon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, I have nothing that compares to that. I got a couple of trips to Toronto, a little bit of Cornwall.
But you got Untethered Talks.
Exactly, and that's what I want to talk about. I am ecstatic about this, Asif. We've got the website live. For those of you who haven't been there, please go to untetheredtalks.com. For those of you who are watching the video, you're seeing it right on your screen right now. Beautiful panorama of the city of Toronto. It's the only time that I will talk about Toronto with absolute enthusiasm as an Ottawa Senators fan. However, we are doing this in Toronto, June 26th, 27th at the Glenn Gould Studio in Toronto. It's right attached to CBC. That is obviously our national broadcaster. It is their office. They have a beautiful theater there, and it is a stunning environment. It's a great theater. Small event. Only 250 people can fit in there. Tickets are on sale now. Go there. Look at our speaker list. You'll recognize some names right away. We've got Jeff Brenner, who is actually from Presley, a local Toronto company. We got Kelly McDonald from Deloitte, who's a sponsor. We got Amber Mack, Doug Stevens, Worley from Chaotic Moon. We've got Gary Schwartz, Sydney Matrix, Scott Kveton, who is the CEO of Urban Airship, which is an awesome little company. You got Rob Woodbridge, you got Asif Khan. Come on. Why wouldn't you want to do this? Sponsored.
Why wouldn't you want to be there?
Exactly. Sponsored by Norton Rose and Deloitte. We got some great assistance from BVO2, and obviously we're putting this on. I cannot wait. June 26th and 27th in the great city of Toronto. Come on. You know, it's not expensive either. We got a deal that's cooking up for members of the LBMA that you should see soon. So if you're a member of the LBMA, you'll have a limited time to get a huge discount on this. That's our advantage. We get to do that because I work right with the CEF. You know, we talk about this.
Hey, we're
tight. I would really appreciate it if you guys take a look at this. Bring it. Come on down. This is going to be a great event, but tickets will sell out because there are only a few tickets and they're already on sale and they're selling briskly. So please come out. Untetheredtalks.com. How's that? We call it 2 days with the brightest minds in mobile. Listen, engage, and learn. That's it. That's my pitch.
Pretty awesome.
That's my pitch. So hopefully we'll see you guys out there in Toronto at the end of June. And if you can make it, make it. If you can't, well, there will be no live streaming of this event. It is an exclusive event. No live streaming, no video replay. This is a one-time only. The focus of this is obviously around the impact that mobile is going to have on certain areas of our lives and economy. And we got some great speakers lined up. More to come, obviously. And then the reception. The reception is at the well, I'm going to pull it up right here because the venue is absolutely incredible because the reception, wait for it. We're talking about the Steam Whistle Brewery, and if you haven't been inside the Steam Whistle Brewery, you haven't, it's such a great experience. It's a beautiful, big stone building. We're doing it on the roof. It's going to be out of this world. I pitched enough on untetheredtalks.com. Thanks for that, Asif. Really appreciate you letting me pitch that.
No worries.
So,
all right,
let's do it. We'll jump right into it. Our first story, we got 5 great stories. We got our obviously our guest, which is Simon Liss of We Love Mobile. We've got 4 funding and acquisition news items, and then we've got, of course, our resource of the week. So we're going to dive right into the top 5 stories that were deemed by Asif the most important stories, the most emblematic of the industry. And we're going to start this first one. Whenever I hear this name CheetahMail, I think of Cheetah Power Surge by that guy, the Canadian guy who sang with Mike Reno. Cheetah, yes. It's a Cheetah Power drink. But this is CheetahMail. And I'll
or Cheetah Pet.
Cheetah Pet.
No, but anyways.
CheetahMail, working with Movable Ink. Movable Ink is such a cool company.
I love it. I love these guys. I actually met a guy named Ryan Pipkin from Movable Ink a little while back when I was in New York. Anyway, so CheetahMail, been around for a while. You know, lots of small businesses work with these guys. A mail service. They have some social media integration with it as well. but they've teamed up with Movable Ink, and really this is the the exciting part of this. So the idea here is that when you send out an email blast, and I do this all the time for the LBMA, you do this all the time for promoting your stuff, Rob. The key is what Movable Ink has is some applications that enable you to update the content inside of that piece of email that you've pushed out whenever you want, even after it's been delivered. And this is the key to it. So I may send out a blast, and I can trigger the content to change inside of that email. I can do A/B testing. I can change it around particular offers. I can change it based on the location of where somebody's viewing that email from. And so it's this idea of sort of real-time targeting and reconfiguration almost of the email message based on a whole bunch of parameters of who, what, where, and when that email is being accessed and viewed.
That's what's the coolest thing about it is that I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty. I used to be so diligent with my email, Asif. It is such a cesspool of unanswered greatness that people keep sending me email, and it just piles up. And then I take train rides to Toronto, and I spend 4.5 hours basically going through my email. But my email is very transient. I see it, I delete it, and that's one of the things that you've been taught, this whole inbox zero. So I love the concept of movable ink, but one of the things that they talk about is that every time you open up that email message, it's going to be a different thing. Basically it's based on the weather. If it's raining, you'll be pushing, rain boots and umbrellas. And then if it's sunny, that email, when you open it up the next time, will be pushing sunglasses and sunblock. I don't often open up my emails more than once. That's the rule is, one open, one action, delete, or file for later, or create an action out of them. So I love this concept of breathing email, but the concept, in my inbox would be an absolute disaster. But
yeah, I mean, assuming that you're looking at it from the perspective of sort of reopening a message, but even that first open can be targeted, right? So. I think that's the key here. Right?
I love, movable, like that whole concept of breathing documents. Send me one email, and then just don't ever send me another email again. If I'm interested, I'll open up that email and just tailor the message to based on the day and the sales. And I love that. So it's pretty cool. But Movable Ink you can find at movableink.com, and I think CheetahMail is just CheetahMail.com as well. It's So it's pretty. It's called Experian CheetahMail, and it's just at CheetahMail.com. Pretty cool first story. All right, second story, man. Okay, here's a controversial story. PunchCard reaching 15 million locations worldwide. And first of all, talk about what PunchCard is, and then we're going to get into a little bit of what this really means.
So, I love PunchCard because I think it's its simplicity in in a mobile app in terms of merchants and retailers. So really, as the name implies, it is the digitization of a traditional punch card. You go to your coffee shop, you get 10 punches, the next coffee's free. And we've talked about this before. It is a loyalty play. So it literally is about virtual cards, earn your way to freebies or cash or whatever rewards that you want to do, and so it's great. And a guy named Andy Stewart runs this company. I'm actually going to see these guys when I'm out in LA next week, but the controversy that you're alluding to is how they get to these 15 million locations, because effectively what they're doing is whether you sign up as a business or not to use the punch card system, they're signing you up anyways and creating a punch card for you. I personally, I think it's a smart move, because it's like, I was in sales for a long time, selling all sorts of software products and technology solutions. And it's always easier to sell somebody on something, I would argue, when you can show them in context, in situ, for, what it looks like with their business and their branding and their everything. So I get that. And from that perspective, I think that makes a ton of sense. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that you really have to demonstrate how this works. but it is a loyalty play. And while most loyalty companies are going after the companies first and trying to sign them up, these guys basically, they said, listen, PunchCard just said, we're going to sign up everybody. Take a picture of your receipt, and you're at a location, and on your 10th location, you're going to get something in return, up to $30 in value. And, I'm going to pull up the where I got most of the controversy was in the TechCrunch article, where they talk about what happens. I mean, this is basically some great questions, some great streams here. And this guy, Zachary Enzig, you can barely see the comment there, said this is on TechCrunch's discussion group on the where they had the announcement. They said, switched on loyalty for places that didn't even ask, which is basically the thing that happens here, is that it's available in any store, any place. You take a picture of the receipt, and it says, so if I go to a place 10 times that didn't even ask, who's paying for my 11th free sandwich? Taylor Bayouth, who is obviously he works for the company, he works for PunchCard, says PunchCard does. They send you a check in the mail for your average order value. So they're keeping track of what you're buying, how much you're paying for, and how often you're actually there. And then on your 11th visit at a store that didn't sign up for this, they're going to send you the average price of what you spent there. So if you spend $8 at Starbucks and they're not signed up, they are going to send you a check for $8 based on the fact that you've taken, a snapshot of all those receipts. But
yeah, and the key is for PunchCard here is to go out and yes, they're paying for these incentives if the businesses aren't signed up. They have two-tier programs for the businesses that do sign up. So yeah, they pay $30 a month or $100 a month.
Right.
And really the value here, what you're getting as a merchant, as a retailer, is data, right? It's analytics on who's coming to your stores, who's buying what, how often are they coming, what is the average purchase size, data that typically a lot of these small merchants have no clue about, right? And that's really the value that they're providing here. So I think kudos to these guys. I mean, by going out and saying, hey, we're just going to sign all these businesses up, we'll fund it for now, but at the end of the day, we go to these merchants and we sell them on a package that says, do you want to understand your customers better? Here you go. Right.
And I think it comes down to influence, about how you can then influence an upsell and a purchase. I come from a long line of tech guys who were waiters. It used to be that you were a waiter when you tried to be an actor. So most waiters were out of work actors. Well, most waiters were out of work technologists. But when I was young, I worked at the Keg restaurants. It's a Canadian and a little bit of American and Australian chain. And what they taught you about upselling is incredible. It was like, do you want to buy a lobster tail with that? It doesn't matter if it was a hamburger or a poutine or a salad. You talked about an upsell, and I think that's what this allows you to do when you subscribe to something like PunchCard. It allows you to upsell or engage with your customers where you wouldn't have been able to do it. And analytics are very important to your customers. I think maybe the price range, $30 to $100 a month, might be a little bit pricey for some small shops. So, and I know that they've just signed a company called KDA Group, one of the largest local marketing agencies, which will be selling this PunchCard service in 300,000 locations. So they're starting to get traction. I think, who knows? It's a very competitive space. We talked about TagTile and Facebook's acquisition there, and there's a whole bunch of Google acquired Punched, and there's Perks and Perkville and PerkCard and Perk-a-lot.
There's a bunch.
Yeah. So it's very, very obviously mobile's the perfect place for the consolidation of your loyalty cards. And everybody knows that. So it's just another play out there. Interesting. But 15 million locations, it's a misnomer, because I could tag something here locally at my favorite coffee shop that nobody else knows about, and it's now the 15 million and first location, right? So, but it's neat. PunchCard hits 15 million locations. If you guys are out there using it, let me know if you've gone to 10. If you've done 10 purchases at a location, you submitted it all to PunchCard. What's been the outcome? Have you been satisfied with it? Untether@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
And we'll get these guys on the show at some point. I'd love to. Next.
Okay, see if we can do a long form on Untether. If you're out there, PunchCard, let us know. We'd love to have you on. Story number 3. Let's talk about this. This sounds great. I love Bravo. I love these kinds of shows. So you take Bravo, which is they create great content, and then you take, a cooking show. I mean, I love MasterChef. I love anything to do with Chef Ramsay. This has nothing to do with him, but you kind of put this reality piece together with Bravo around the world in 80 plates. What is this, Asif? And what has this got to do with location?
Yeah, so this is Bravo's launching a new show. It's actually launching this Wednesday, I believe, called Around the World in 80 Plates. And as sort of the name implies, it's a show about sort of people experiencing interesting restaurants in different countries all over the world. So they're Argentina, China, England, France. Looking at the list of Morocco, Spain, Thailand, Uruguay. They're going all over the place. And they're bringing sort of local cuisine and local culture, through a show like this. And what they've done is they've partnered with Infinity, the car company, for this, and have built a location-based game, social, Twitter challenge thing. And so the idea is that Bravo and Infinity team up, and you basically have this fan contest where you tweet hashtag 80 plates challenge, and it unlocks 10 secret locations across the U.S. So there's this interactive map of the U.S. that they built, and fans have to kind of like race around and find these hidden tickets to whatever the featured destination is for that week, and it's tied to where these show episodes are happening. So really cool. I mean, I think this is a great way to sort of connect a television show, fan base around a show, connect it to the real world and real people who watch these things, and bring it all together. And I love this. This is not the first time Bravo's done this. They've done this with Top Chef and other shows. So I'm fully in support of this. So this is a great move.
I like it too. If it would just load. So here it is. This is the Infinity Challenge, 80 Plates Tweets Challenge, and you get this week's prize. Is destination is London, England. So this is actually pretty cool. I do appreciate this, simply because I love the live nature of this, and this is a perfect fit for something like Miso or Get Glue, isn't it? Like this when you're tied into Twitter as well. But I think that why aren't they using a platform like that?
Well, I mean, I just think that from a reach perspective, using Twitter in this way, I mean, obviously you have much bigger numbers than you have with a Get Glue or Miso at this point in time. Now, if it was me, I'd probably look at doing what they're doing and then have a Get Glue or Miso layer in addition to. So I'd combine the two things probably, but this is good on its own.
Yeah, it is, and it, as a big play, and I think that this is a perfect example. We've talked about this many times about the big location players. Every Twitter post that you use from your mobile device, unless you've turned it off, but by default, a location is stamped with it. Every time you do something with Facebook, a location is stamped with it. Every photo you take on Instagram, every photo you take and put up to Facebook, every photo you take and put it up to Google Plus, and every photo you take and put it up to Twitter has a location stamp on it. These are big players. And that's the competition. These guys are not going to let location disappear. They are going to do this quite often, and you can see that it's a natural fit for Twitter. Twitter is by far one of the largest. Twitter, Facebook are by far the largest two social networks that involve location, and they just do it as dial tone. So this is huge. I like this. Around the World in 80 Plates starts May 9th, in fact, this coming Wednesday. And if you're watching this in the year 2017. Series is probably over. You can probably buy it on Netflix or Hulu or whatever the dominant cable replacement is out there at this point.
Time warp back and win.
Time warp back and think about oh my God, how archaic this is that we're doing. We're talking about this, from 2017.
Anyway,
and if you can come back in time, let us know. Give us a little, make sure you do it before episode number 77 so that we can act smart. Bravo, Around the World in 80 Plates. Story number 3. Numero 4. Hop On Inc. launches their services at the, geo-targeted services in Cancun at the airport. Basically handing, you land for your vacation, You can rent a cell phone, and it has all these location-based services. Pretty cool technology. One thing that before we go into the story, Hop-On also does electronic cigarettes and cigars, as well as mobile, the $10 mobile phone. So
it's Mexico, man. Anything can go. Anything flies.
Like electronic ganja.
Anyhow,
right? All right, jump in. What is this service?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a geofencing based cellular targeting service, effectively, and so the key here is it's Mexico. We don't typically talk a lot about what's going on in that market, but it locations everywhere, and so this is a service that's happening at the airport in Cancun, as you alluded to, and basically what happens is it's a multilingual platform. You can push SMS-based alerts to people on these devices. So, refer them to travel agencies, tour operators, make dinner reservations, whatever. So, I mean, it's basically for all the local businesses that want to attract those tourists coming in. You can basically run ads on this system, and you pay fees for that to deliver that. But effectively, this is a purely geofence cellular-based service, not unlike in some respects, O2 with priority moments or AT&T shop alerts or any of those kinds of systems. It's just that this is in Mexico at the airport and specifically targeting tourists and those that want to reach them. So kind of interesting, kind of cool.
So you can have your dope dealer send you targeted messages right on your cell phone, right over Hop-On's network.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to sponsor us anymore, are they?
Probably not.
So you can go to Hop.
Cancun, so we can experience it firsthand. I think we'd be open to that.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. You know what? But now that the weather's turning, I'll hold off until the winter. But if you go to hop-onmobile.com, I just pulled it up on the screen there for those of you who are watching this. Hop-on mobile.com. You'll see it. Apparently, they're doing something with the Olympics. They do it in China. They do it in a bunch of places. So it's a pretty cool solution. And if you want to be marketed to, if you feel like you're being left out, you feel like you're being left behind, you don't know, you don't have enough ads being pushed to you in Cancun, you can pick up one of these cell phones at the airport and be marketed to your entire vacation. Sounds relaxing. Hop on.
Nice.
Love it. All right. I'm being joking. I like this is a cool idea, and if you have kids, you know what? You want to strap one of these phones onto them so that they can be found. Is my play as well. So I think that's a bigger play for the parents. Story number 5. This is cool because one of your predictions, Asif. One of your predictions was one of the companies to watch in 2012 was this behemoth in the mobile space, in the location and the purchasing space called PayPal. And they bought Where. How long ago did they buy Where? Like over a year ago?
It's a year now, yeah.
And they bought Where, and everybody's been wondering, okay, what is PayPal going to do with Where? Well, here's PayPal Media Network based on Where. This, I think, is probably step one in the way that PayPal is going to be moving forward. Let's talk about what is PayPal Media Network.
Yeah, so this is basically Where reinvented, as you or Where rebranded. Let's call it that much. PayPal Media Network. So Where was all about location based mobile advertising, and now what it is going to be location based mobile advertising connected to all of the other eBay, PayPal services. So, add Red Laser, add Bill Me Later, add shopping.com, add ebay.com, add Milo, add all that stuff that they own, and smash it all together, and you now have the PayPal Media Network. And of course, you can pay for this stuff on PayPal. So, or they've got their, what's it called? The little hardware piece like Square.
Yeah. What is it? A triangle?
Yeah. I forgot the name of it now. Here, blanked on that. Sorry, guys. Anyhow, so this is the combination of everything. So there's 70 million mobile users that have access to this platform. And it's the ability really to sort of target any of the commerce opportunities that eBay has within their ecosystem. And then obviously push ads to them based on location, which is the where capability piece of this, or if somebody goes and scans a barcode with the red laser component of this, to return an ad based on that or more information based on that. And of course, if they want to buy something, like I said, you've got the PayPal capability built into this. So this is a super all powerful, all encompassing platform. As you said, I mentioned this right, on our New Year's prediction episode. I said, watch for eBay and PayPal. This is going to be it. They've got all the tools to put together, and now we're seeing, the first fruits of that.
Yeah, it's PayPal where, right? It's PayPal here. Yeah.
Here, that's what.
It's not PayPal where, but this is PayPal where, which is ultimately the PayPal media network. So let me get this kind of in absolute layman's terms. What we're talking about here is that there's a whole bunch of things to do here. If you are a PayPal merchant, this benefits you immensely because if you're using any kind of software like Red Laser, you scan a barcode or you scan a price or you're looking up product. Now it's going to search the entire PayPal network for that product for you, isn't it? So you're going to find the better price. You're going to be able to then be enabled to purchase that, even if you're standing in somebody else's store. Ultimately, is that what I'm hearing from this?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, this is the beginning of world domination from PayPal because of the number of merchants that they've got signed up already, and the fact that they do own eBay, and the fact that they do have Red Laser, and they're tagging all these different products. And you think about what they're doing is that when you tag a product in Red Laser, say you're in Future Shop or you're in Best Buy, you tag a product, you tag a TV. With Red Laser, you're doing a product scan. You're looking up popular products. You're getting an average price. You're also looking up the location that you're standing in, the price that you're looking at that product. It is being registered somewhere in PayPal, and they're doing a whole bunch of price comparison shopping around for you. This is a pretty powerful tool. This is insane. This is pretty amazing. And then not only that, you're getting pushed targeted advertising through the Where network based on the products that you're looking at. This is pretty big. Kind of goes in line with your prediction. My only thing about this is that it's taken PayPal quite some time to bring this service out from the time that they've acquired Where. And we're already in May, and this is really the first big announcement aside from here, which is a catch up to Square, that PayPal's done through some of their acquisitions. So it's I expect much more in the second half of this year.
There's definitely more to come, right? And you've got Walt Doyle, the former CEO of Where, running this new PayPal media network. So smart cookies over there. I mean, there's a lot of brain power that have come in through these acquisitions. Totally
agree. A lot of acq-hires, however you want to pronounce that. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about one of Facebook's coming up in the funding and M&A section. So that's it. Those are the 5 stories. Go back and listen to them again if you missed anything. What do you think? Did we miss anything? If we did, reach out. We'd love to hear from you. untether@gmail.com. What do you think about these stories? They span the globe. There are massive differences across them all, which is what Steve tries to do, is bring this list of things that are somewhat common, but there's some great examples of things to do inside of your business with these services. So try to leverage some of these and let us know what you think. And if you're using any of these, let us know. We'd love to hear. untether@gmail.com or asif@the-LBMA. Those are the 5 stories this week. I sat down. What I love about this, doing these things, is that it opens up an opportunity to sit down with some most amazing entrepreneurs, and not only from North America, but from around the world, which is location marketing and mobile are a global phenomenon. It is not just localized to North America or Europe. It is around the world. And when I get to sit down, I've sat down in the last couple of weeks with some amazing people from Africa, from North Africa, South Africa. And I actually got to sit down with Simon Liss, who is the CTO of a company called We Love Mobile. And the reason that it's so relevant to what we're talking about here is that this 6-minute or so segment is around the QR code. and something controversial. And I think that this is very interesting. We often talk about place-based or pop-up stores or place-based marketing or transaction, which is a heavy part of location-based marketing. And the QR code seems to come into the middle of all of this. And what Simon says is quite literally, I hate QR codes. You know, I think we all have that kind of feeling of ambivalence towards QR codes. But he says, I hate QR codes. And boy, oh boy, this is why. And here's the solution that we should be doing instead of QR codes. So it's a very interesting 6 minutes. The full aired segment from this interview will be on another show that I do called Impulse, which is a global look for developers with a focus on developers that airs once a week on Wednesdays. But this will be in a couple of weeks. This is a preview. We haven't seen this before. 6 minutes with Simon Liss, the CTO of We Love Mobile, on why QR codes suck. Here it is.
Alluding to QR codes, which I have an issue with, and I know Rob does as well. The QR codes are a wonderful piece of technology. They're used by robots in Japan to scan car parts. They're big in Japan. They're really techno, and for some people this is just too much to handle. They just say, I've got to have it. They're used by robots. They're big in Japan. They look for this. It's a techno fan's kind of a dream, and they've become extremely popular. We get clients coming to us all saying, I want to do QR codes. And we'll be like, you want to do QR codes? Well, what do you actually want to do? We want to do QR codes, but what do you want people to do? And there's a misunderstanding of this technology that they see it as an end in its own, and it's not just a means to an end. And you guys know this, a QR code is just a piece of encoded information. It is actually, as an object, extremely ugly. If you stick a QR code on a piece of branded material, it doesn't actually add anything to that. The QR codes all look the same. And yes, you can have some branded ones, you can have a bit of flourishing around the sides, but effectively, you're not telling anything about the brand through the QR code. So I'm against them from an aesthetic point of view, but really I'm against them from a user experience point of view. People do not naturally scan QR codes. I mean, it's established a behavior pattern in Japan. But there's all sorts of established behavior patterns in Japan which we don't have in Western Europe and North America. Good reason for that. Different culture, different tradition, different approach to technology. When we look at the figures and we look at how the actual volume of QR codes being scanned, we see that it's under 5% in the UK, and actually month on month it's been decreasing this year. It's been decreasing because they're not that usable. You need to download an application. You then need to fire up the application. You need to scan the QR code, and then you need to follow the link and go to whatever experience you have on the end of that link. Now, we already have a way of doing that. It's called Google. It's called Google or the web or the browser bar. You type that URL in, or God forbid, you should have to type something in and then search to find it. So we have this route already. It's well established. It's well used. And one of our mantras to clients is, don't reinvent the wheel. Don't look for new user paradigms. If people are already doing something, leverage that. Why? Don't. Your job is not to impose technology on people. Our job is not to reinvent the ways for people to use technology. And technology is either embraced by people or it's rejected. And I'm afraid right now QR codes are being rejected. Maybe in a year's time they'll be very popular. I doubt it. I think that search is still definitely king when it comes to information discovery on mobile, and the figures speak for themselves. Under 5% of people in the UK using QR codes. Over, I think, 50-60% of people in the UK using Google on their phones to search for information. It's what they do. And brands and agencies like myself would be very arrogant to think that they can convert people into using a mechanic that happens to work for them. It's all about the user at the end of the day.
So let me ask you this, Simon. You and I feel the same way about the QR codes. It's a stopgap. It's an anomaly. It's like a laptop. A laptop is a transitionary technology, right? It's not the best and it's not the worst, but QR codes are that. And to me, sometimes it's very lazy marketing. Very, very, very lazy marketing, and it's but they're everywhere now. They're in newspapers, they're on billboards, they're on advertisements. They're trying to. I saw a QR code actually on an ad, on a television ad, which seems just sometimes ridiculous. But how else? I mean, what is a good way then of bridging that divide between what we're seeing in the real world, terrestrial world, and getting that information onto a mobile device or interacting with a consumer? Like, I'm standing in front of something, or I'm reading an article, or I'm looking at an advertisement. Then how should marketers then interact or allow their consumer to interact with them?
I mean, I think the principal route in should be around search. There are all sorts of technology that out there which seem to offer the possibility of bridging the gap between the digital and the real worlds. QR codes are one, augmented reality is another. They are wonderful pieces of technology, but they're not being adopted by people in any volume. We've seen clients who have experimented with AR. They get very low engagement rates simply because you need to pick up the piece of paper, see that you have to download an application to engage with it, download that application and then engage with it. And that kind of defeats the object of this. We want to make it easy for users to engage with brands and to communicate. Now, if you put technical barriers in the way, you reduce the chances, reduce the engagement rates, and you reduce the ROI. So I would say that the simple things. We put three things on printed materials. We put a URL, we put a QR code, and we put an SMS, a text call to action. And we're increasingly also encouraging clients, if they want people to find them, to search. So search online for and give keywords. Keywords are memorable. You remember them. They're meaningful because they actually say what you're looking for. The QR code is not meaningful. The QR code is not memorable. It doesn't say what it is. You have to scan it. It's hidden. It's a code. I mean, why would you dialogue with people in code? It doesn't make sense. So search is king. It's logical. It uses normal human language, and it uses a discovery mechanism which everybody has and everybody does. And you can use the same search term on mobile as you do on PC. You do the device recognition in the back end, and the job's done. You don't have to overthink this. Let's not find a technical solution where one is not needed.
And Simon Liss, and why QR codes suck and search is the future. What do you think about that? You know what? I love bringing this kind of controversy to the show. If you believe what he says, that QR codes are transitory, that are not relevant, that we should be focusing on search and honing in on search because that's where mobile is and that's where transaction, that's where location-based marketing is going. I mean, I don't believe him 100%, but there's got to be something better than QR codes. Reach out. Untether@gmail.com or CF@the Let's talk about those things. So that was Simon. We really appreciate Simon lending his voice to Untether.tv and This Week in Location-Based Marketing. All right, awesome. Let's jump right into the funding. Asif, couple of acquisitions, couple of funding, big money being spent for DemandForce by Intuit, which is our first story. What was the value of this?
$424 million.
My God, chump change.
So interesting. DemandForce is a company I think most of us have never heard of. It's a B2B play in location, focused on providing a platform for a great number of small businesses, everything from dental offices to automotive shops to hair salons to whatever. And really what this is a platform that enables people to push out messages. So you've got a dentist appointment coming up, it sends out a reminder. All those reminder calls that you get are coming in many cases from DemandForce. And this is a company that's well known in the VC circles, obviously, because it's backed by Benchmark Capital. So $424 million later, they're now owned by Intuit. And we talked about eBay, and and my predictions on eBay, from the turn of the year. Let's watch out for Intuit, I would say, because here they are spending big cash on DemandForce. Was it 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago? We talked about Intuit buying Buyer, which gives them sort of barcode scanning, red laser light capabilities in some respects. These guys are lining up to pull together some pretty powerful assets as well. So, kudos to Intuit.
Yeah, I like this. I like this buy. You don't think of Intuit when you think of any of this kind of stuff, but Intuit has, when you're connected and you're using these guys, they have they have the small business, the large business around their accounting and billing platforms, and now they're moving into this stuff. So, it makes a lot of sense, especially when the whole world is moving to this frictionless transaction space where banks might not be as important as we think they are going forward. When it's person-to-person transactions like this, or merchant-to-person transactions, or
and like I said, very similar to eBay in some respects, right? I mean, Intuit also has their Go payment platform and their here competitor, so to speak. So, these guys are not that different in some respects. They're just approaching it slightly differently with different acquisitions.
So now weigh this acquisition for $424 million by Intuit, right? That's what they spent on DemandPost versus the $1 billion that Facebook spent on Instagram. Makes no sense. It just makes no sense.
Yeah. There's no comparison.
It just isn't. It's just frivolous spending, man. All right, so Intuit buys DemandForce. Second story, why don't we stay with the acquired space here for now before we get into some of the funding. But Glancee, a company that we featured here on episode number 74, a scant 4 weeks ago, was picked up by Facebook this week. Just yesterday, basically on the weekend. Another, spending spree by Zuckerberg on the weekend, speaking of Facebook. These guys I don't think that there was any terms. It was well less than $1 billion, which is, I guess, the terms. But this was, I think this was labeled as an acq-hire, because I think that the Glancee service is going to be shut down. They've basically said you've got 90 days to get out. Yeah. So this is another one of those. Glancee was an application that came out along with like Banjo, which was a social discovery application, and
Highlight, Banjo.
Yeah.
See, I mean, although they're I don't want to group all those guys together because there are interesting differences between them, and we've talked about those. But yeah, they sort of all got that big buzz around South by Southwest. I don't know. What are we saying here, Rob? Get on the show because 4 weeks later you might get bought. Is that
That's
how it
exactly it. Your path to riches are coming onto the show. But if you like, if there's any information, if you want some more information about what they did, what Glancee did, just head over to untether.tv. Check out the LBMA's website, episode number 72. It's called This Week in Location-Based Marketing, number 72, Consensual and Contextual Retail. We sat down with Alberto Tretti, and there's a full interview on Untether. There's a long-form interview on Untether with Alberto the next day, which would have been April 9th. So go and take a look at that if you're interested in what this acquisition, what they acquired. But still, Facebook getting very aggressive in the mobile space and acquires Glancee for the talent, which should be interesting to see. Alberto was a great guy and certainly a very beautiful application and a little bit unique from the rest of them. Third story, first funding, Signpost. Yep. Which I think is, what do they classify these guys? These guys are basically the AdSense for local commerce, raise about $4 million.
Well, they're a big Google partner. So they raised $4 million bucks. 3.75. So we can round that one up to $4 million. It's coming from a group called Spark Capital. And they had previously raised 1.25. So they're $5 million in all now. And so this is just, fuel in the tank, hire some more people. Apparently they're bringing 25 new employees on. And they just hired AOL's Chris DiPatria, however you say it, DiPatria, as VP of Revenue. So they're bringing some pedigree in. They're expanding the team. This is about monetizing AdSense.
Yeah, and it's just AdSense, right? Google and AOL, I think, is what they're involved in, and it's this is a very competitive landscape. The media buyers, basically, and it's interesting because obviously this is this is a race right now. So anybody raising money in this space is it's either a roll-up opportunity, it's either a roll-in opportunity for something like Google or AOL. But you know what? $4 million, not a lot of money compared to our next story. No. Not at all. $4 million is chump change. Well, first of all, it's chump change to Intuit buying DemandForce for $424. We don't know what Glancee is, but it's less than $1 billion. But Just Eat raises what?
64 million.
64 million. So what is Just Eat?
Well, it's a UK-based food ordering, online ordering of food website, as it implies, I guess, sort of. This is interesting. So these guys, this is not their first raise. In total now, they've raised apparently about almost $130 million. So big guys behind this. So this round is led by Vitruvian Partners, and some of the existing investors include Index, Greylock, Redpoint, some big guys involved in this. They operate in 13 countries. They're based in London, as I said, but they originally out of Denmark. Apparently they deliver something like 100,000 meals a day. So I mean that's significant orders going on. 30 million orders in total so far, to $750 million in revenue per year. Yeah,
that warrants it.
Some big going on.
$750 million a year in revenue, and this is a third-party intermediary for delivery and takeout food.
Yeah. And the reason I think this is relevant to our space, I mean, yes, it's online ordering, it's location-based delivery of food, and all of that. But, we know Groupon, we know Living Social, and, up here in Canada, WagJag and all these guys. Every one of these guys has recently launched some sort of a restaurant, food ordering, grocery, some food-oriented, subsidiary, let's call it, of their prime property. So Living Social's in this space. They've got Living Social Instant, and they've got a piece around this. And I think everybody's trying to figure out how they continue to sort of grow horizontally, so to speak. We've got our core platform. This is what it does. How many industries and verticals can we take it to, right? And so that's why I think this is relevant, because I think this goes right potentially up against the Living Social or Groupon.
I'll even push it a little further, because we did a story around Google indexing local menus in Manhattan. And I think that Google is going to get into this space pretty effectively. And there's Yelp in this space that should be, at least they should be in this space. Mm. So I think that the hotly contested area of restaurants and takeout food and expiring inventory around reservations and all these kind of things, it is a very large industry when you bring all of those restaurants together, and every one of them is looking for a way to bring more people into their restaurants or get more food taken out. And I believe that you're right. You've got all of these coupon companies who are doing their instant, their right now coupons, and then you've got companies like this. Plus, you've got Google that's about to play in this space. And then you've got Facebook, which is going to be in there as well. This is going to be a highly and very hotly contested space. And these guys seem to, I mean, they're focused obviously in Europe, but it wouldn't take much of the $64 million to test it in a metropolitan area in North America. And I think that they're probably getting their process down right, or maybe they don't even care about North America, which they shouldn't, because they're driving $750 million in revenue through these 12 cities. So, wow, $64 million. Intuit. spending $424 million. Facebook writing another check for an acq-hire, bringing on some more talent. Alberto for the Glancee guys. Signpost raising $4 million and Just Eat raising $64 million for a total of a lot of money. For those of you who are out there who have a lot of money, there is a great show called This Week in Location-Based Marketing. We are looking for sponsors. There is an opportunity to actually expand your market through our audience. Reach out if you have a few extra bucks. You can reach out on tether@gmail.com.
Yeah, no, definitely. We would welcome it.
Our last piece here before we get to shut it down for the weekend officially, PlaceCast. This is our resource of the week. PlaceCast. This is the Alert Shopper 3. This is a great, great, great resource. I'm going to pull it up as you talk about it to see, but it's pretty, it's the more data you have when you're making decisions like this to bring this kind of stuff into your business, the better. And what they've got here? PlaceCast's Alert Shopper.
It's just a great piece of data, and this is the third time they've done this. They work with Harris Interactive to put this together. It looks at the U.S. market, basically looks at cell phone usage and SMS in particular, and some great data. 20% of cell phone owners apparently make a purchase via phone, and just looking at some of the other data here. Interestingly enough, they say only 4% of mobile users receive marketing text messages today, but 33% of the people surveyed said that they're open to receiving them, and that's a huge number. And they surveyed over 2,200 people in this survey, so the sample size is pretty significant, I think. So I think there's a lot of great data here. I won't go through all the numbers. We'll put up the link to it. And we'll also post this up on the LBMA site under the research tab as well for people who want to find it there. But just some fantastic data.
Well, yeah, when you start to talk about the growth and even just pulling it up here, like mobile commerce, I always equate these kind of things to really a reinforcement of the messages that we've been talking about throughout the 76 episodes of This Week in Location-Based Marketing. It's the message that also a guy by the name of Gary Schwartz talks about quite effectively around, if it's not driving deeper customer engagement or tonnage, which mobile commerce should be doing, then don't do it, right? Don't be in this business if you're not doing one of those two things, deeper engagement, which always leads to sales, or actually holding on to your existing customers, or driving tonnage, which actually is closing deals as a result of mobile. Don't do it. Don't be a part of it. And it's the same thing that these numbers reinforce. So there are smart people out there that we should be listening to. Gary's one of them. I think that the stuff that we bring here each and every week fits that as well, is that we are bringing you these lessons that other companies are learning the hard way, that are actually building these opportunities for you to either participate in or learn from a lesson. And this is what this show is about. So why not listen to it? Why not learn from it? And why not start to implement some of the good ways of doing things? That's why we've got these things from PlaceCast, the Alert Shopper 3. Link is up there. Go and take a look at it. Just to reinforce the things that get said every week on This Week in Location-Based Marketing. That's why I love it, Steve. That's why.
Hey, I'm right with you on that, Rob.
Well, that's the episode, man. 76 down. I'm going to remind you that go to the lbma.com/events for the event in Montreal, the event in Toronto. If you want to follow Asif around the world, you can through his Twitter account @AsifRCon or @the LBMA, or you can just actually show up in Amsterdam and freak him out. I plan on doing that.
If you are in any of these places, please do come up and say hi. I mean, I love it. I love meeting people who watch the show face to face. There's nothing like face to face conversation and contact.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. Text message, it doesn't. Don't replace it. So go up and talk to them. And again, UntitledTalks.com. Would love to see you guys in Toronto. We're getting a lot of buzz. We just went live with this on May 1st. We are excited about it and hope to see you guys there. And you'll be hearing much more about it, certainly from the speaker standpoint, as we go through these next 6 or 7 weeks before the conference itself. But that's it. So I think we will put this one to rest. Episode number 76, done, finished, fini, kaput. We will be back, of course, for episode number 77 next week. Thank you all for watching This Week in Location-Based Marketing. Asif, have a safe week, safe flights. We'll see you guys in a week.
Thanks, everyone.
Everybody.
Cheers.